It was by leafing through leisurely a book on New Deal art one Sunday, some 10 years ago, and I saw this black and white reproduction of the Paso of the North, and I immediately identified some features which reminded me of Piero. It seemed to me incredible that an Italian Renaissance painter should be known in a city 6,000 miles away from Tuscany, a city which I tended to associate with John Wayne's Western films. I googled Tom Lee, came across Adair Margot's name. I sent her an email and asked her, namely, did Tom Lee ever go to Italy? And she said, yes, he went to Arezzo and he liked Piero, which convinced me that I had identified something that perhaps was unknown by many people. He went to Italy and he acquired a book on Piero and also read Aldous Huxley's travel book, which includes a chapter on Piero's hometown, the best painting being The Resurrection of Christ. Now, the idea of having a Tom Lee trail on the model, the Piero trail, is interesting. Tom Lee, and he says that himself, he was interested in Piero and he clearly drew inspiration from him. Secondarily, because Tom Lee painted for small town mostly, painted public murals, and so did Piero. You won't find murals in Florence or in Rome. You'll find them in medium or small-sized towns like Arezzo, in a village like Monterchi and so on. So the visitor who wants to get a feeling of Tom Lee and the environment should really go and see his paintings just where they were painted. And the same applies to Piero. Both artists are deeply very close to their land, to their territories. Tom Lee, he did depict the landscape of his region, of Texas, as he saw it, but in a kind of personalized, more modern way. Every town, every city I've visited has been quite an experience. My first one was El Paso, which is a large city. I gave my talk at the university with questions given by students and professors. That was interesting. I learned also from them. What is the influence of Piero? You've got the hieratic depiction of figures, frontal, almost holy. He uses this kind of religious imagery to give greater dignity, I think, to give a certain majesty to the figure of the cowboy or of the Indians or of other personalities. It's his way of respecting them and honoring them. Tom Lee, he represents them as thoughtful, careful people, full of dignity and full of wisdom. Then I went to Odessa. It was a totally different environment, a small town of course, but it was a museum. I had curators asking me questions about Tom Lee and Piero, members of the local community as well. I was, as you know, at Seymour. It was exceptional because I actually lived in a ranch. I became better acquainted with what it is to be a Texan and what it is to be a cowboy, really, because I even rode a horse. Great experience. Tom Lee was extremely well acquainted with anything to do with horses, with the life of cowboys. Here I am in Austin, which is an extremely sophisticated city. I'm talking at a major history museum. I was quite taken by people's generosity and kindness because really everyone treated me as a friend, kind of touched me and surprised me. each period has its own art, and it is quite right that it should be so. I would like contemporary painters to imitate Tom Lee, but I would want them to respect him. It is part and parcel of your culture, and I think you should cherish it.